So in this segment, we're going to be talking about the UK getting into a bit of beef with the French over fishing rights again. So we saw this kick off, I think, in May. I'm going to say with a lack of sort of fishing licenses given out to French fishermen who want to operate in Jersey, and it's happening again. With this year, it's just crazy. But yeah, fresh tensions have surfaced between Britain and France over post-Brexit fishing rights. In the latest round of applications, the UK granted just 12 licences from the 47 bids for smaller vessels to fish in its territorial waters. Jersey has been reluctant to give out licences to the French fishing boats because clearly they want some sort of scrap to happen. Like, I don't know what the hell they're thinking over there. French Sea Minister Annick reportedly said French fishing boats must not be taken hostage by the British for political ends. I mean, that's essentially happened. But I don't see many people in Britain really celebrating the French not being able to fish there. So this is not really a big win for Britain, really, when you think about it. Especially when the fishermen of Jersey are very reliant on selling those fish to the French. And the French will basically, blockade their ports and say, go somewhere else. Go sell the fish in Britain or something, or eat them yourself. Meanwhile, Jersey refused licenses to 75 French fishing boats. And the thing is, when you're dealing with the French know how to protest. So they will protest in France, but they will also protest in Jersey. We saw the blockade already that they've done. So it's one of those ones where something's going to have to give here. And I'm not sure what is going to have to be the British government, really. The UK said it would consider further evidence to support reining bids for fishing rights. Overall, the UK has granted 117 EU licences for its inshore territorial waters, and almost 1,700 EU vessels have been licensed to fish in the larger UK exclusive economic zone, which stretches 200 nautical miles from the shore. So the issue is that why is it specifically in Jersey the UK are playing hardball here, or sort of the Jersey kind of government are playing hardball? That's the interesting question, which hopefully someone can answer. Maybe they really do want the UK and the French to scrap again. Mr. Garadin, quoted in French newspaper Le Monde, said it is a new refusal of the British to apply the conditions of the British Accord despite all the work undertaken together. If I was the French government, I would probably be looking at taking the UK to court over this one, because that's the only way you're going to get this resolved, or you start sticking tariffs on fish. They're your two options there, really. Both sides have substantial bargaining chips. Many European fisher boats have traditionally relied on British fishing waters, while many British companies rely on selling their catch in European markets. The French Prime Minister Jean Castex recently sent a letter to von der Leyen, warning that the problem was far from over, so a local dispute could quickly become a broader European issue. We saw it become more than a local dispute, really, when we saw that blockade in Jersey. The French fisher boats, they were there for about a good few hours. So this will be one where the French are going to try and drag in other EU members to try and get this one dealt with, because the last thing Macron wants, especially as he enters, I think it's an election next year, is to be dealing with this nonsense and be looking like a weak president, essentially. Macron doesn't have a lot of options. He does have to put pressure on the British government to essentially pressure Jersey into stop making such weird decisions. But at the same time, unless Macron does something radical like switching off the power to Jersey, he doesn't. He needs to do something big here, essentially, to kind of force the island to do what they're meant to be doing, really, which is giving out these licenses to French fishermen who have historically operated there. After protests by French fish vessels in the waters around May, the deadline for foreign boats to submit evidence was extended because they didn't want to have a crisis, essentially. They didn't want to continue that blockade. But that's finished. That would have been finished in September, I believe. It's safe to say that France won't be impressed by the rejection of 75 boats. So the French have done their bit, the fishermen in France have done their bit, which is to apply for the licenses. The islands rejected them. I mean, you're going to have to look at the merit of each rejection, really, and the only way to fully do that is to go through the courts. A spokesperson for DEFRA said the UK's approach has been reasonable and fully in line with the TCA. And again, unless you go to court, you're never going to know if that's the case. The spokesperson said that to get a license for fishing in the UK territorial sea, which is between 6 and 12 nautical miles, EU vessels must provide evidence of a track record of working there. So they have to show that they've been there, if operating in those waters for the last couple of years, which would be very difficult because this rule has only been implemented, in the last year, which, these fishermen would never have expected a situation where they would have to prove where they've historically fished. It would be quite difficult to do so. I mean, how would you even do that? The row led Mr. Garridin to threaten to cut off Jersey's electrical supply, 95% of which is delivered by 3 underwater cables from France. If they do that, that's going to explode into a massive diplomatic crisis. But I don't see what other option the French really have here, considering the UK aren't listening. But if they do so, it's going to explode into a much bigger row between the UK and the French, and also the UK and the EU. So let me know what you think in the comments below. What should France really do here? Because it's clear that Jersey are adamant they're not going to give licenses to some of these French fishermen. 75 fishermen can do a lot of damage, so it's really up to them. And I can see French ports just rejecting fish caught by Guernsey fishermen. So I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.